At 62, most people are told to slow down, to expect muscle loss, to live with joint pain, to get comfortable with feeling weaker year by year. But not Andy Wilkinson. Today, Andy walks down the street with a posture so confident, build so strong, and skin so clear that strangers don't ask him for directions. They ask if he's dating his daughter. And it's not a gimmick. Andy is a grandfather of 7. But if you saw him shirtless at the beach, you'd guess he was in his late 30s, maybe early 40s on a tired day. His secret isn't in a lab. It's not in a surgery clinic or some Hollywood anti-aging hack. It's in a simple, disciplined, orthopedic approach to aging, built on principles that almost anyone can follow. Muscle loss is one of the biggest health threats for older adults. It leads to balance issues, joint strain, slower recovery, and increased risk of falls. The condition even has a name: Sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass and strength after middle age. But Andy didn't just slow this down. He reversed it.
Hello, my name is Dr. Brian Vittorio. I've been an orthopedic specialist for over 30 years, helping seniors across the continent to live their best possible lives after 60. If you care about staying physically stable and independent as you age, this is the community for you. And I hope you join us by subscribing and hitting the bell icon. Also, visit seniorsorthopedics.com and let's continue this guide. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They think you need intense weightlifting, miracle supplements, or hours in the gym. But Andy's path was the opposite. He focused on sustainability, on routines that prioritize joint integrity, leg strength, recovery, and the often ignored science of hormonal and muscular preservation after 60. So how did he do it? And more importantly, how can you apply the same orthopedic wisdom to your own life without risking injury, burning out, or wasting time? Let's start with the foundation. Andy built everything around a deep respect for muscle as medicine. He understood that muscle isn't just about looking strong. It's about metabolic health, bone density, balance, posture, and even immune resilience. According to studies published in journals like the American Journal of Geriatrics and Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, maintaining muscle mass reduces your risk of diabetes, heart disease, and even dementia. But it has to be the right kind of muscle, and it has to be built the right way. For Andy, that started with a core principle: train less but smarter. He exercises 3 times a week. That's it. No two-a-days, no boot camps, no endless cardio sessions. Each workout is about stimulating, not exhausting the muscles. Andy trains with moderate resistance, focusing on compound movements that build functional strength. Things like split squats, step-ups, push-ups, rows, and core stabilizing holds. And here's the key: every move protects the joints, not punishes them. Many older adults try to follow routines made for 25-year-olds and then wonder why they end up with sore knees, tight hips, or inflamed shoulders. Andy avoids this by aligning his workouts with principles used in senior orthopedics: slow eccentric control, neutral spine posture, supported knee positions, and time under tension instead of speed. And no, he doesn't live at the gym. He's done in under 60 minutes. But here's what most people miss: his recovery game is surgical. Andy sleeps like it's his job. Lights out by 11 p.m., blackout curtains, no phone in the room. Why? Because growth hormone, the hormone that helps maintain and build muscle, peaks during deep sleep. Miss out on quality sleep and you blunt your body's ability to recover, regenerate muscle tissue, and keep joints lubricated and pain-free. And his second principle: eat for muscle, not just weight loss. He doesn't count calories, he counts quality. Every plate he builds is rooted in anti-inflammatory, protein-rich, joint-friendly foods. Breakfast: a slice of seeded bread topped with salmon, avocado, and 2 poached eggs. Add in a chia hemp blueberry bowl for omega-3s and antioxidants. That's not just trendy, it's clinically smart. These foods reduce systemic inflammation, which supports joint tissue, especially for those with osteoarthritis or past injuries. Lunch and dinner: lean proteins, like chicken, stews packed with fiber-rich vegetables, small servings of rice or sweet potato, not to fuel bulk, but to support muscle repair without spiking insulin. His one golden rule: no supplements. This is controversial but backed by reason. Andy doesn't touch protein powders, creatine, or pills. Instead, he focuses on digestible, real food nutrients, which are more absorbable and come without hidden chemicals or gut issues. That said, if your diet is lacking, a doctor-supervised supplement plan might help. But for Andy, and many like him, the focus is on real food, eaten slowly, in the right portions. Let's pause for a second, because here's where many people make a critical mistake. They think, if I just eat cleaner, I'll be fine. But nutrition without neuromuscular engagement is like having bricks with no mortar. Andy's secret weapon is simple: he walks with intention. That means every single walk is a chance to activate the posterior chain, the glutes, hamstrings, calves, and spine stabilizers that most people lose as they age. He walks briskly, keeps his core engaged,
and focuses on heel-to-toe stride. That matters because as we age, our gait becomes shorter and flatter, one of the earliest signs of declining strength and balance. Orthopedic science shows that losing stride length and glute engagement increases your risk of falls, knee pain, and lumbar spine strain. Andy corrects this with walking drills, uphill strides, and simple balance work like tandem stance, single leg holds, and lateral step patterns. It's not about steps, it's about form. This single adjustment, walking with awareness, helps maintain the neural pathways that connect your brain to your legs. It improves proprioception, reflex time, and keeps the hip capsule strong and mobile, especially critical in the years after 60. And now we get to a key differentiator: emotional fitness. Andy isn't calm by accident. He trains his stress response like he trains his body. Studies from Harvard Health and Mayo Clinic confirm that chronic stress accelerates cellular aging. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, breaks down muscle tissue and increases joint inflammation. So Andy prioritizes calm. He has one motto: everything will be fine. It sounds simple, but that daily mantra trains the brain to switch from fight or flight to rest and repair. He meditates briefly in the morning, not with incense or apps, but by sitting quietly for 5 minutes, breathing slowly, and visualizing success. This tiny ritual recalibrates his nervous system, helping to maintain hormonal balance that protects joints and muscles from inflammatory overload. He's not just lifting weights. He's lowering cortisol. That alone can save your knees, protect your back, and preserve your independence well into your 70s and beyond. But what really sets Andy apart is that he doesn't chase youth. He maintains function. His training isn't designed to impress. It's designed to protect. Protect joints, protect strength, protect movement. And that brings us to the engine behind it all: hormonal preservation. Most people don't realize that after age 50, testosterone, growth hormone, and even insulin sensitivity start to decline sharply. For men especially, low testosterone leads to more than just fatigue and low mood. It directly reduces muscle protein synthesis, increases visceral fat, and even contributes to joint pain through systemic inflammation. But here's the catch: Andy never touched hormone replacement therapy. Instead, he leaned into natural, orthopedic-endorsed ways to support hormone health. He lifts just enough to trigger a mild anabolic response, but avoids overtraining, which spikes cortisol and suppresses testosterone. His recovery, especially deep sleep and cold exposure, enhances hormonal stability. Simple strategies like ending the day with a hot shower followed by a quick burst of cool air have been shown in small but growing studies to improve deep sleep cycles and even support natural testosterone regulation. And let's not overlook posture. Andy understood that posture is physiology. As we age, our thoracic spine begins to curve forward, called kyphosis, pulling the shoulders inward, weakening the upper back, and reducing lung capacity. But what most don't realize is that poor posture actually disrupts hormonal signaling too. When you slump, cortisol goes up. Confidence hormones like testosterone and dopamine go down. Your gait changes. Your spine loads unevenly. Your energy plummets. So Andy trains posture like a lifeline. His routine includes scapular retractions, thoracic extensions over foam rollers, and plank variations that train the deep stabilizers, not just the outer abs. This not only keeps his silhouette upright and athletic, it offloads the spine, keeps the ribcage open, and reduces pressure on the lumbar vertebrae. That's critical in your 60s when spinal degeneration and disc compression begin to accelerate. And speaking of the spine, let's talk balance. Muscle alone doesn't prevent falls. In fact, many strong people fall every year because they haven't trained their vestibular system, the body's internal GPS for balance and coordination. Andy weaves in simple balance drills 3 times per week, and they're nothing fancy, just powerful. He'll stand on one leg while brushing his teeth, walk heel to toe down the hallway with his eyes forward, do lateral stepovers with slow control, or even practice clock face drills, tapping the floor in all directions like the hands of a clock while keeping one foot grounded. These micro movements wake up the proprioceptors, the tiny sensory receptors in the joints that tell your body where it is in space. As we age, these get dull, but with regular, gentle activation, they can be retrained. Orthopedic research has shown that older adults who perform just 5 to 10 minutes of daily balance work have significantly lower risk of hip fractures compared to those who only walk or lift weights. Andy's method proves this in real time. His balance is sharp, his reflexes are quick, his ankles are strong and responsive. It's not because he's gifted, it's because he practices like it's medicine. And here's another overlooked detail. He uses movement as therapy, not punishment. Most people push themselves to exhaustion, thinking they're earning progress. Andy avoids that entirely. In fact, he says one of the biggest shifts in his 60s was learning to stop working out like he was 30. Instead, he began training with surgical intent. Shorter sessions, longer rest between sets, controlled tempo. His workouts usually follow a push-pull-leg structure spread over the week. Day 1. Push, chest, shoulders, triceps. Incline push-ups, dumbbell overhead press, light. Wall-supported isometric shoulder holds. Day 2. Pull, back, biceps, posture. Resistance band rows, bent over dumbbell curls. Towel grip hangs for grip and shoulder health. Day 3. Legs and core step-ups on a stair, glute bridges, wall sits, bird dogs, and side planks. No machines, no isolation movements, no strain on joints. Just foundational, safe, effective movement patterns that maintain total body strength without wear and tear. And that brings us to his single most protective habit, hip care. The hips are the powerhouse of human movement, yet they're often the first joint to go stiff after 50. Sitting, inactivity, poor glute function, all of it compounds into tight hip flexors, weakened glutes, and a tilted pelvis. Andy does something few people think to do. He prehabilitates his hips. Each morning, he performs a gentle hip mobility routine, 90-90 hip switches for internal rotation glute activations with mini bands, deep bodyweight squats holding onto a rail, leg swings front to back and side to side. This takes 8 to 10 minutes, but it resets his pelvis, activates his glutes, and keeps his hip capsule hydrated and mobile. That's key because hip stiffness is a gateway to lumbar pain, knee strain, and instability. Mobility protects everything else, and what makes this even more powerful is what he doesn't do. If you find this video helpful so far, don't forget to like and comment kudos so more people like you can find this helpful guide. Your feedback helps me create practical videos that truly aid your physical strength and balance as you age. So thank you for your honest feedback, and let's continue this guide. Andy doesn't jump. He doesn't run. He doesn't perform box jumps, burpees, or plyometrics. At 62, the risk-to-reward ratio is too high. His approach is inspired by orthopedic principles: preserve the joint, train the muscle, protect the balance. And it works. But here's the part that may surprise you. Andy doesn't obsess over his workouts. He obsesses over his environment. His home is designed to support movement. His chairs have lumbar support. His kitchen has a standing prep area. He keeps a yoga mat visible so he's reminded to stretch daily. He even replaced scrolling on his phone with standing foot mobility drills while watching TV. This subtle shift from relying on motivation to relying on environment is one of the biggest secrets to his consistency. And it's not just physical. Andy surrounds himself with youthful inputs: music, reading, laughter, curiosity. In neuroscience, this is called neuroplastic input stimulation, and it's one of the most effective ways to delay cognitive aging. But more than that, it supports the body's recovery system. When you're mentally engaged, your body perceives youth. When you're bored, it accelerates aging. Andy understands this. He fuels his mind like he fuels his body, with quality, consistency, and joy. And that joy shows in every area of his life. He doesn't just look 20 years younger. He moves like it, lives like it, connects like it. And none of this came from perfection. It came from patience, because the truth is, Andy didn't wake up one day with a six-pack and perfect balance. He had aches, stiffness, moments of doubt. What made the difference wasn't willpower. It was understanding that aging is not a sentence, but a system, and systems can be upgraded. The first upgrade? Mindset over motivation. Andy stopped asking, "Do I feel like exercising today?" and started asking, "What can I do to protect tomorrow's body?" That shift from short-term discomfort to long-term identity changed everything. Instead of chasing visible results, he became a steward of his own mobility. Every small action became a deposit in what he calls his mobility savings account. Woke up stiff? Stretch before coffee. Feeling tired? Do 10 wall push-ups instead of skipping movement. Didn't hit the gym? Go for a walk with posture and purpose. It's not about volume, it's about momentum. And once momentum is on your side, the body responds quickly, even after 60. Science backs this up. A study published in the Journals of Gerontology found that even starting resistance training in your 60s or 70s can lead to significant increases in muscle mass, strength, and balance in as little as 12 weeks. The reason? Your muscles still respond to stimulus. The key is to give them the right stimulus, which is exactly what Andy did. But more than that, he built a life that nudges him into doing the right things, even when motivation is low. That's not luck, that's design. And that's where the real takeaways live. Because what Andy discovered can be translated into daily, doable actions, even if you've never exercised before. Here's what that looks like. Start your day with 3 non-negotiables. Hydrate before anything else. Andy drinks a tall glass of water immediately upon waking. Not coffee, not juice, water. Why? Because overnight dehydration reduces spinal disc hydration, thickens blood viscosity, and decreases joint lubrication. Within 10 minutes of drinking water, your synovial fluid, the lubricant in your joints, starts flowing better. Andy starts every day with a 5-move sequence. Cat-cow for spinal fluidity, shoulder rows, standing hip circles, heel raises, standing glute squeezes. These moves don't require equipment or space, but they wake up the nervous system and prevent morning stiffness from hardening into all-day tightness. One intentional breath. Before the noise of the day begins, Andy stops and takes one long, slow nasal inhale, then a full exhale. It resets his system, lowers morning cortisol, and begins the day in a parasympathetic healing state. It's a reset button that anyone can press. Then, throughout the day, he follows a rhythm, not a routine, a rhythm. Mid-morning, a light snack or movement burst, something as simple as 10 squats or walking the stairs. Lunch, always protein forward. 25-30 grams minimum, which research shows is the ideal window to stimulate muscle repair after 60. Afternoon, he stands every 30 minutes, just for 1 to 2 minutes. This breaks the cycle of prolonged sitting, which orthopedic studies have linked to hip tightness, reduced glute activity, and compressed lumbar discs. And in the evening, recovery becomes sacred. Andy dims lights by 9 p.m. No screens after 9:30. He takes a warm shower, stretches his calves, uses a lacrosse ball to release tension under his feet. That small act, rolling the fascia of the foot, can actually improve hamstring flexibility and spinal decompression according to research from physical therapy journals. He then reads, not scrolls, reads. And by the time he sleeps, his nervous system is calm, his joints are relaxed, and his recovery window is fully open. That's how you stack the odds of healthy aging in your favor. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but I've got knee pain, or a bad back, or no time. And that's exactly the point. Andy didn't build this routine to work because he was already strong. He built it to work despite the limitations that come with age. That's why this is a senior orthopedic model, not a bodybuilder's program. For example, he has days where his knees feel sore. On those days, he doesn't push squats. He shifts to isometric wall sits, which activate the quadriceps without straining the joint. For back discomfort, he leans into bird dogs and dead bugs, which strengthen the deep spinal stabilizers. And when he's short on time, he does movement snacks, just 5 minutes, 3 times a day. And here's where it all comes together. Every decision is filtered through 3 questions. Does this movement serve my joints? Does this food nourish my muscles? Does this moment support my energy? Not just now, but tomorrow. That framework, applied consistently, is more powerful than any gym membership or supplement stack. Because aging well isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things consistently, without ego. And that's what makes Andy different. He's not chasing youth, he's building resilience. He doesn't care about biceps, he cares about being able to hike with his grandkids, carry groceries without strain, get up off the floor without pain, and go on vacation without worrying about stability or injuries. And guess what? That kind of strength shows. That's why he gets mistaken for someone decades younger, not because of some skin serum, but because he moves like someone who's not afraid of life. And people feel that. You can feel that too. The body responds faster than we think, especially when we shift from trying to lose weight or look fit to trying to move better, feel stronger, and stay independent. And maybe that's the most powerful part of Andy's system. It's not about looking like him, it's about feeling like yourself again. Waking up without dreading your joints. Walking into a room without hesitation. Bending, reaching, stepping, and stretching without wondering, is this gonna hurt? That's not just fitness. That's freedom. And that freedom is closer than you think. The most important part of Andy Wilkinson's transformation wasn't a workout. It wasn't even a diet change. It was the moment he stopped asking, how can I stay young? And started asking, how can I stay capable? That's the shift. Because youth fades, but capability can last. Andy didn't build his body for aesthetics. He built it to last. He built it for 7 grandkids who don't care how many crunches he does. They care that he can chase them through the park. Lift them up for a hug, hike hills, play tennis, get down on the floor, and back up again without hesitation. This isn't vanity. This is vitality. And here's the best part. Everything he's done is adaptable. No matter your starting point, you don't need perfect knees. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need to be fit. You just need to start with what Andy would call your base layer, the one habit that begins it all. That habit is leg strength. Because once the legs go, everything goes. Your hips compensate, your spine overworks, your balance fades, independence becomes harder. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, quietly. A little more fatigue on the stairs, a little more stiffness getting out of the car, a growing hesitation to walk long distances or stand too long, then suddenly a fall. Andy knew this. That's why his entire system orbits around preserving his legs, specifically his glutes, hamstrings, quads, and calves, and doing it in a way that supports the joints, not strains them. One of his go-to exercises? Step-ups. Not on a high box, just a stair. 1 foot up, drive through the heel, engage the glute, and slowly lower down. It mimics the exact motion you use every time you get up from a chair or walk upstairs. Key movements that decline early with age. Another? Wall sits. Press your back into the wall, knees at a safe angle, not below parallel. Hold for 30 seconds. This isometric move strengthens the quadriceps and builds knee stability without the pressure of full squats. And of course, glute bridges. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat. Squeeze your glutes and lift your hips. Hold. Lower slowly. This movement activates the largest muscle in your body, your glutes, which are essential for posture, walking, standing, and spinal protection. No weights, no noise, no impact, just control, breath, and repeat. These movements aren't flashy, but they're functional. They preserve what Andy calls movement currency, the ability to do the basics well without assistance, without fear, and without pain. Because when you train your legs, you're not just training your muscles. You're stabilizing your joints, reinforcing your bones, activating your core, and keeping your nervous system engaged. You're investing in your freedom. And what happens when you combine that with hydration, nutrient-dense meals, balanced training, mobility, and a calm nervous system? You get a body that doesn't age in the way the world expects. That's why Andy gets mistaken for his daughter's date. It's not a party trick. It's biology behaving the way it's supposed to when it's respected, supported, and used the right way. And here's what matters most. Andy is not the exception. He's the example. Because this isn't about genetics or luck. It's about what you choose to do with the body you have today. If you're watching this and thinking, it's too late for me, it's not. If you're thinking, I'm too out of shape, you're not. If you're thinking, my knees hurt, there are alternatives. The body doesn't need perfect. It needs consistency. And consistency begins with just one step. So here's where you start. Right now. Today, try this. Stand tall, feet shoulder-width apart. Lift your right foot just an inch off the ground. Hold for 10 seconds. Now switch sides. Do this twice a day. That's your first step into balance training. You've now activated the nervous system, recruited your stabilizer muscles, and sent a signal to your brain. We are working on strength again. Tomorrow, take the next step, add a wall sit. The next day, a few glute bridges. In 1 week, you're not just doing exercises, you're building a habit system rooted in longevity. And if you want to take it further, if you're serious about preserving your mobility, protecting your joints, and building back your strength after 60, I've built a complete system just for that. It's called Strong Legs After 60, and it was inspired by stories just like Andy's. Inside, you'll find joint-friendly strength routines, balanced drills, and a full blueprint to help you reclaim leg strength even if you haven't exercised in years. No impact, no gym, just orthopedic smart training designed specifically for seniors.